good evening, of course, depending from where you hear my voice. Happy to come your way again. Happy to hear that you're doing great. The month of October that we all saw the beginning is eventually coming to an end. Yes, I don't know what you've been going through. I don't know how the times have been for you. If it has been going well, thanks be to God. If it has, developed rough edges, may Almighty God help you smoothing the edges. It's not easy for anybody, but we've got to move on because continuous movement is the essence of life. Change is constant. Nothing remains the same. We know and we heard that nature abhors vacuum. So, ladies and gentlemen, the month of October is running away speedily. Today is the 27th. I guess in the next few days, 3, 4 days from now, the month will be history. And we'll be walking into November before the final month of December. So how are you doing? Hope you're doing great. Hope, of course, you continue to listen to the Biafra Superstars media. Hope, of course, that you find our audios interesting, you know, and very motivating. Because, of course, one of the things we try to do at Biafra Superstars Media is to keep you abreast of daily happenings. What are the things happening as far as Biafra is concerned? What are happening? Things happening to Biafran personalities? What are things happening to Biafran people? What are moments that we should all take seriously or remember? That's what we do in Biafra Superstars Media. We call a spade, not an agricultural instrument. Give you a blow-by-blow account of issues and events concerning the people of Biafra. And of course, we must reiterate at this stage that Biafra is not about any person. Biafra is not about a personality. Biafra is about a people who have decided that it's about time they call the spade and take their, future into their hands. Yes, all hands must be on deck because Biafra is a reality. It's not a mirage. It's not people who have taken any sign of any sort of substances. We are not operating under substances. No, Biafra is a people, a way of life, a culture of a people who are mindful of their history. Because, of course, we have heard that a man who does not know where the rain started beating him will never know where the rain stopped beating him. Of course, we are not like such people. We know our culture, we know our heritage, and we, of course, know the events that precipitated the Biafran Civil War. Of course, the January 1966 coup that was led by Major Kaduna Nzogu. Yes, the name implies an Igbo man, but eventually we were told by the former president, military president of Nigeria, uh, President Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida, that of course that Nzogu man, the man they call Nzogu, was more Aboki than Yamni. Of course, the man spoke little or no Igbo, but he was vast in the culture of the House of Fulani people. He dressed like them, he spoke like them, he ate like them, and he thought like them. So, ladies and gentlemen, that very unfortunate war, that Biafran war, that mean the 1966 coup that was adjudged and wrongly classified as an Igbo coup, turned out to be a coup that actually was very much engendered, orchestrated, and perpetrated by the House of people. And of course, who would have been the beneficiary? Who would have been the beneficiary of that coup? It turned out that the late Chief Obafemi Awolowo, the stalwart, political stalwart of the Southwest, would have been the beneficiary, because of course, uh, the military officers then, were carried away by his charisma and his postulations about life, and they thought he would have been the best man to install as president after that coup. Unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, the aftermath of that coup, because several people were killed, including the southern of Sokoto, including Alhaji Tafa Balewa, who was then the prime minister, and a whole lot of others, they not descended on the south, on the people of Biafra, people of Igbo extraction, because they heard that Major General Kaduna Nzogu was an Igbo man. Ladies and gentlemen, it was from that, what you might call genocide of the Igbo people, that eventually they had to run away after much killings, maiming, destructions in the north. They had to run down to their south, to their origin. Of course, They not chase them, everybody chase them. That, in a nutshell, encapsulated to what has become known as the Biafran War, where the South, the Biafrans, were now forced to defend themselves in a common enemy. The Nigerian military, Nigerian country as a whole came down to fight Biafra, even in its own locality. Ladies and gentlemen, it is because of that war that things of this nature, things concerning Biafra and secessionist agenda have become paramount. Because since 1966, 67, 68, 69, 70, that the war finally, was declared, no victor, no vanquished. Yes, we thought it was all over. But of course, we found out that our people, because of that war and because of pride and prejudice, have been adjudged a defeated people. People who came out from the war that the then head of state, General Yakubu Gowon, proclaimed no victor, no vanquished, and immediately instituted the 3 R's: reconstruction, rehabilitation, and reintegration. Unfortunately, the government failed the people of Igbo land. They failed the Biafrans because what they gave them, people you wanted to reintegrate, people you wanted to rehabilitate, people you say you were going to reconstruct, abandoned and destroyed properties. What you gave them was a miserable, a paltry 20 pounds to go and die. Ladies and gentlemen, since 1970 down to 1920 to 2025, 2000, 2025, it has still been a catalogue of woes for the Biafran people that has made people like our leaders, Nnamdi Kanu, Simon Ekpa, and even our Deputy Prime Minister, Dr. Ngozi Oronigwe, to continue to agitate, yes, agitate and clamor for, they already declared the sovereign state of Biafra. Take it or leave it. The aftermath of that 1966 coup is what led to Biafra. Because, of course, the whole Nigerians, especially the northern enclave, descended on Biafran people and declared what might be called a genocide, a holocaust on them. Because during that Biafran war, more than close to 5 million people, kids, orphans, sick and elderly, were killed. People died out of starvation, deliberate starvation, because of course the Nigerian authorities forbade any aids coming from world, meaning philanthropic organizations. Of course, they blockaded the air, they blockaded the sea and the land. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the history, a brief synopsis of what happened and why Biafra is still agitating today. For my audio today, ladies and gentlemen, I want to bring up notice what the Chief Judge of Togo, yes, Togo, if you know, is just beside Nigeria. The Chief Judge of Togo, Chief Judge Komian Ido of the Supreme Court of Togo, has expressed strong concerns regarding the integrity of the Nigerian judicial system in the ongoing case of Nnamdi Kanu. Ladies and gentlemen, the Chief Judge of Togo, if you like, has come out very, very openly and very clearly to lambast Nigeria over mistrial of Nnamdi Kanu. Chief Judge of Togo lambasts Nigeria over mistrial of Nnamdi Kanu. Ladies and gentlemen, give me your ears. Let's reason into this just for a moment. Chief Judge Komian Edo of the Supreme Court of Togo has expressed strong concerns regarding the integrity of the Nigerian judicial system in the ongoing case of Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB in bracket. In a statement issued today, Judge Ido warned that the Nigerian courts risk losing their credibility if the key witnesses identified by Kanu do not appear for testimony. Judge Edo stated, quote, if those whom Nnamdi Kanu listed as witnesses fail to appear in court, it simply means the Nigerian judicial system has lost its credibility, unquote. He further emphasized that under such circumstances, Kanu would be entitled to invoke his right to a referendum in accordance with international legal standards set by the World Court. This development could escalate the case to the global stage, attracting international attention and scrutiny. The Chief Judge elaborated on the crucial role of the witnesses, noting that if they do appear, they will face an important question. Did the Nigerian government attempt to harm Nnamdi Kanu in his hometown? Should the witnesses deny this allegation, Kanu reportedly plans to present video evidence to support his claim. Conversely, the Chief Judge noted, if the witnesses confirm their allegation, Judge Edois asserted that the court will be compelled to grant Kanu bail, a decision that could advance his broader objective of seeking Biafra's independence. Judge Edo described Kanu's approach as a significant legal strategy, highlighting how it utilizes both national and international legal principles. This situation has intensified pressure on the Nigerian judiciary to conduct the trial with transparency and fairness, given the potential implications for both the legal system and the wider political landscape. Let's do a bit of background here. Ladies and gentlemen, Nnamdi Kanu is the founder and leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, the Ekpa, a movement advocating for the secession and independence of the southeastern region of Nigeria, known as Biafra. The movement has gained momentum due to long-standing grievances over political marginalizations and economic disparities in the region. Kanu's activism and frequent clashes with Nigerian authorities have made him a prominent and controversial figure, both within Nigeria and internationally. His ongoing legal battles have drawn widespread attention, raising important questions about human rights, self-determination, and the rule of law in Nigeria. Ladies and gentlemen, here you have it. The Togolese chief judge. Yes, his name is very, very interesting. Yes, Togolese chief judge, Justice Komlan Ido, Chief Judge Komlan Ido of the Supreme Court of Togo, has expressed strong concerns regarding the integrity of Nigerian judicial system in the ongoing case of Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB in bracket. Ladies and gentlemen, the Chief Judge, Justice Ido, Komlan Ido, has said that the whole world is watching Nigeria and the whole world is aptly and profoundly disappointed because suddenly the Nigerian authorities are acting as if they don't know they are being watched, as if they don't know that Mazen and the Kanu's case has become an international issue. It's warning the Nigerian authorities that you still have the chance to do the right thing. You still have the opportunity to right in the wrong, that you're doing a perpetual wrong, very painful wrong, very, very major wrong to this individual and these people of Biafra descent. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think our proverb says it, the words are not for the wise, because a whole lot of people have been canceling Nigeria, especially the judiciary, telling Nigeria that, listen, you are dancing naked in the public. You think you're harming Nnamdi Kanu. You think you're going to stifle his progress. You think you're going to, by force, by hook or crook, force the Biafrans, to eschew and abandon their resolve for a self-independent country. But you're not doing it the right way. You must give them a sense of belonging. You must throw the olive branch to them. You must bring up politics that show no more disparity, no more so-called disenfranchisement, no more treating people like a second fiddle, no more treating them like a defeated people. You have the chance, Nigeria. This is your chance. And the way you handle it, the way and manner you treat this case will determine a whole lot of things. Yes, that's what a lot of people are counseling and advising Nigeria. But of course, Nigerians have continued to block their ears. I mean, Emiloka and his group at the zoo have continued to act with abandonment, reckless abandonment, feeling that, of course, they're above the law. They're feeling that nobody can discuss their matter, especially the international community. In fact, in recent times, the Jagaban sent messages to the United States telling Donald Trump that his envoys are very, very much interested in getting Nigeria convicted and addressed as a state of concern, as a country of great concern, therefore putting the country, you know, in a condition of disrespect, insecurity, and, threat to America and the rest of the world. The Jagaban and the people of the zoo called Nigeria have continued to vigorously campaign against, these so-called killing Christians, and allowing the Fulani jihadists to plunder, kill, maim, and destroy Christian communities while turning their eyes the other way. Of course, everybody knows this is the trend. This is the trend in Nigeria. When a Fulani jihadist kill a Christian, no, no noise is heard, no judgments are given, nobody is arrested. But when a Christian in self-defense attacks a Fulani, kills him, then you are sorry, because instantly the court will be constituted and the death penalty will be hanged on the neck of such a person who dared to touch an untouchable, who dared to resist the Fulani jihadists, who dared, even though it was in self-defense, to touch the anointed people of Fulani Hausa descent. Ladies and gentlemen, the whole world has seen that this is very, very wicked. This is very, very totally unacceptable. Now that American authorities are taking the matter up, even in their parliament, even in their, in their government enclaves, in their discussions, now all of them are clamoring that Nigeria be described as a country of serious interest, because, of course, what is happening to Christians in Nigeria has become highly, highly, totally undesirable and totally unacceptable. How can you be killing Christians? Even when they're praying, you come and bombard them. You burn down their churches, you burn down their homes, you rape their women, and of course, you perform all kinds of surgeries on their pregnant women. That is totally undesirable, totally unacceptable, and wickedness of the highest order. Of course, Nigerian government want to they're doing everything to sweep it under the carpet. Yes, of course, doing all kinds of public propaganda, doing all kinds of orchestrated drama, settling people, bribing and corruption, all in a bid, to hide this under the carpet. But of course, the news is all over the air. The videos are there. The victims recounted every day. The churches that are burnt are showed live. Of course, the murders that take place, and how the Fulani jihadists are daily clamping down on Christians, killing them, maiming them, knowing fully well that nothing would happen. Yes, somebody told another person in a video, I'm going to delete you, I'm going to shoot you, I'm going to machete all your body. Nothing would happen. No, nothing will happen. That's the way it is. That's what the government of the Jagaban is fighting assiduously to bury under the carpet. But of course, it has come to the limelight of the international community. That is part of which Chief Judge Komlan Edo of the Supreme Court of Togo has expressed strong concerns regarding the integrity of the Nigerian judicial system, especially in the ongoing case of Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of indigenous people of Biafra. And of course, this idea of having one judgment for Fulani jihadists and another more severe one, dangerous one, and highly condemnable one for Christians. Ladies and gentlemen, this audio is to create awareness. This audio is to sensitize us to know where we are. Of course, the international community is watching us. They are doing all things to destroy, to delete, and to dehumanize Nnamdi Kanu, a man who came out complaining of his health condition, and all the scans and health reports were deliberately ignored by the Nigerian authorities, deliberately ignored by the high courts. And of course, they still continue to try him under painful, health deteriorating circumstances. I can't imagine that this is happening in 2025. I can't imagine that we are still in the dark ages. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow freedom lovers, It's up to you to think. It's up to you to know the truth. It's up to you to decide who to listen to. But the truth of the matter is that Biafran people in recent times have become an endangered species in Nigeria. Take it or leave it, the water we drink, the food we eat, even the religions that we now adopt have become source of terrible disaster for us. When you're a Christian, you are endangered. When you're a farmer, peaceful loving farmer, you're in danger. When you go about your business without quoting or hurting any fly, and the Fulani jihadists get you and your farm, destroy your crops, and you complain, of course you are sorry if they don't kill you, if they don't maim you, if they don't rape your children, your daughters, if they don't burn down your community. Then of course they resort to the law courts, because in the law courts they are sure that you that dared to raise a finger on them, the Hausa Fulani jihadists, you that lay your finger on them, you'll be sorry. You'll be sorry, because it will be death by hanging. They know it, and that's why when they attack our farmers in the village, when they hit them at Ebonyi, in Ebonyi State, when they hit them at Enugu, when they hit them at Olo, Imo State, when they hit them at Ngobala, when they hit them in parts of Anambra State, these Fulani jihadists will tell you, looking at you right in the face, they will provoke you to dare lay a hand on me, dare hit me, let me see. You say you want to revenge, let me see. And they bring out their dagger, they're slashing one arm, they're slashing fingers, they're slashing people's ear, they're killing and maiming, and they tell you, dare to touch me. And of course, when you dare, my dear brother, when you dare, my dear sister, you are a sorry sight, because the next thing they do, they get the armed forces to arrest you. The next thing, you are in the court, and the next thing, the judge proclaims you guilty as charged, death by hanging, because you dared to touch an anointed Fulani jihadist. Ladies and gentlemen, how long are we going to suffer this? How long will this injustice continue? I leave you, my dear brother. I leave you, my dear sister, to think on, ponder on these things. Where are we headed? One Nigeria, one Nigeria, one Nigeria, one Nigeria, but with different judicial system. One for the House of Fulani jihadists, one for the Christian. The House of Fulani will burn down a complete community, kill people, maim, destroy farmlands, burn down houses, rape, gang rape our women. And when they are caught, they are patted on the arms and say, go away. The next thing you hear, they have recanted, they are sorry, they will not do it again. Next time you see that man is wearing a uniform, he has joined the Nigerian Armed Forces as a soldier. As a soldier, because of course he knows how to use the AK-47, because of the course he knows how to, manage bomb making devices. But the Christian who dares to lay his hands in self-defense, who dares? He's sorry. They'll make life painful, difficult, totally dehumanize the person. Ladies and gentlemen, how can we have two different countries in one country? That's why Nigeria has been described as there was a country, a former country indeed, by our late prolific writer, Chinua Achebe. That's why our own Master Nnamdi Kanu described what happens in Nigeria, the perilous conditions after vigorously considering what happens in Nigeria. He said Nigeria has descended to a zoo. Even the 45th, 47th president of the United States described Nigeria as a shithole. Shithole because, of course, anything, indeed anything can happen in Nigeria. It didn't matter it was 2025. It didn't matter that we are no longer in the primitive ages. What matters? You don't dare lay your hands, defend yourself on the Hausa jihadist who attacks you, who burns down your farm, who kills your chiefs, your children, who rapes your wife and your daughters. You don't dare respond, because when you do, the odds are very much going to be against you. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the story of Nigeria. Yes, a Togolese judge, chief judge, Conlian Edo of the Supreme Court of Togo has expressed strong concerns regarding the integrity of the Nigerian judicial system in the ongoing case of Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra. In a statement issued today, Judge Edo warned that the Nigerian court risks losing their credibility if the key witnesses identified by Kanu do not appear for testimony. Justice Edo stated, if those whom Nnamdi Kanu listed as witnesses fail to appear in court, it simply means the Nigerian judicial system has lost its credibility. He further emphasized that under such circumstances, Kanu will be entitled to invoke his right to a referendum in accordance with the international legal standards set by the World Court. This development could escalate the case to the global stage, attracting international attention and scrutiny. Ladies and gentlemen, let's leave it at this. God bless you all to come your way again. Bye-bye.
Yeah, check me out. Superstars Media. Lord Lugard, Bloomington, Lord Lugard, and it's Wild Flora Show. 1914 amalgamation is what we dying for. 3 nations to 1 nation, ever since annihilation. Nepotism is nonsense. You and you, clap your hands. Biafra gonna come, clap your hands. Biafra, Odudua, we're free now. Freedom is gonna come, we're free now. Yeah.